Or how is it going to go here into the sequel? Ooh, Anubis is already on our screens, and some of the plays are looking a little bit obscene. T-side cleaning up on entry, Vince, as Sinners have already claimed the bomb site and found a few frags to boot.
That's a nice shot from Feinstein, though. Does at least give them a little bit to play off. 3 separate angles, a 3-pronged attack. Now as Abraju comes in on the CT side, does have some backup as well. They need to get this next kill. The next kill is super important. They've got it onto Oscar, who was left stranded by his teammates, 2 of which just sat in Temple. The time is ticked away very quickly. The bomb fuse is low, and they're starting to pick up the stragglers, and Sinners will get it done. A couple of shaky moments there towards the end, but too far gone on the bomb meant they had to force one of those players for the defuse, and it allowed Sinners to pick off the rest. They claim first blood on their choice of map, and the thing is as well, with Anubis being your home choice, Jacky, it's like in classic Counter-Strike, obviously the map choice would mean that the opposite team gets to pick which side they start. Anubis is one of those weird maps where, like, I think a lot of teams are fine to start on T side. They're not that bothered about that prospect.
Oh yeah, you're sound as, mate. Honestly, in this day and age, Vince, on quite a few maps, I feel like it's kind of more, if you just want to set the pace of the game, have rifles in your hands earlier, have the MAT 10, starting T is a bit of a blessing in its own right. I do find myself enjoying it more and more, especially because the Glock just feels so strong to run in, rip heads off, buy armor if you want to. It's so good to get the blood pumping. Oscar, by the way, this could be an absolute mullering. He does pre-fire a little bit early on the peak, but he's got backup from AJT. So farming can commence, and all of the money will be wired into the bank account.
Yeah, I think he's a bit concerned to overextend for a player potentially at the pillars, which there actually was. But as you mentioned, because he had a couple of players also around in close proximity, it was also a bit of a distraction. Bit of misdirection to allow them to clean it up as cleanly as possible. And now ILIN will have a buy, but because they've got pretty much no kills in that previous round, it's going to be a FAMAS M4s. No kits, but they do have quite a lot of utility. You know, a couple of incendiaries, a few smokes here and there. Not too shabby at all. They did struggle quite a bit once Sinners started to apply that pressure on the T side. Neofrag straight in, but Abraju good enough to deal with him on Con. Gets caught with a smoke out and has lost a player behind him on the site itself. It's looking like it's going to be a run-and-gun success for Sinners and break that economy down again, unless ILIN can clutch a 3-on-4 post-plant.
Oh, the spam makes a world of difference, at least, on softening up B-Stick. Silver bullets in the M4. Lampada looking for the flank. Meanwhile, on the bomb site, Oscar, he's been absolutely lampooned, Vince. They go driving by him, panic kicks in, and from an advantage for Sinners, it falls down to one man. Shock! Oh, Peaks with the Molotov in his hand. The spray control won't land, and they jump back on the bomb. They're going to be able to defuse that one and grab their first by the skin of their teeth. That felt so chaotic. A hodgepodge of mistakes, Vince.
Yeah, that was rough to watch, honestly. I mean, if you're Sinners, that is a round you want to put to the deep, dark places in the back of your mind and not think about that one again. It's a tilter kind of round, and we know, like, Oscar's a great player, but we know he can be a bit of an emotional player too at times. He definitely has that kind of, I don't want to say reputation necessarily, but in previous tournaments, I've seen it with my own eyes. He's a guy that blows hot and cold, but he also definitely feels it when things go against his teams. So if you're ILIN, you're loving that. You're absolutely loving everything about that round. It looked like you're about to be 0-3 behind with a terrible economy. Instead, you're coming in aggressively. That flash is so good. Absolutely wrecking the vision of Oscar and Shock. And it's a hit and run. It's robbery as they back off to the site again on A.
That's genius, mate. Really nicely played. He's even willing to go back in for more, Vince. Swings towards A main for a third and final time as he clacks down and slays another man. AJT walking his way in towards middle. Fine Shine seems to have put his back up. Suspected maybe there was a play to be made here. Holds, the smoke dissipates. He finds the frag, and the second falls in line for ILIN off the back of the heroics towards the A site. Nice push and good openers from Lampada. And it's true, man. It really is one of those where sometimes it feels like Oscar, He does sort of have that heart on the sleeve in the way that he plays CS. When the good times are going, it really is rolling for him. If the going gets tough, the frustration can start to seep in. Sinners, though, they should be in a pretty cool position, at least in terms of the mentality. You've already got one map under the belt. You know you're in the driving seat. If you can just maintain control of the game, you can make your way through to the closed qualifier. You just got to keep it clean. Into this one, you're basically going for a bit of a tactical timeout whilst the game's live. Have a chat, wait for the round to play out, figure out what you want to do, and see if anyone peeks into you. Obviously, it's just Glock, so it's not the end of the world if they don't find success. Bomb plant would be the dream, but it could be a tall task for them. Although, Vince, I mean, mid's completely open. If you find your way in past camera, maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, there very well could be. Could just swarm over. Lampardo that's watching the angle now. He is one of their better performing players on both maps, so definitely not going to be a gimme. They find that little nugget of timing. They have taken down Abaraju, but they're going to now have to try and go round the side of Temple. And they have CTs there laid in wait. Just the one kill. Not too bad. All things considered with just Glocks. The bomb plant would have been the dream. That hasn't worked out, and ILIN will take the lead. But I kind of... When I think of Oscar... They're obviously very different players, but in terms of mentality, it reminds me a little bit of Kenny S, where Kenny would also have these like super high highs, but also very low lows, incredible talent, incredible ceiling on the players. But I think you actually nailed it. Like, where's their heart on their sleeve? That's a really good way of putting it. You know what you're getting with these players. Like, if they're not feeling it, they're not going to hide their emotions. They're going to be very straightforward about them, you know?
Oh, absolutely. They're definitely from the same pod, you know, two Ps in the same one, because Kenny was always like that as well. You'd see it, man, where games start to go wrong for Kenny. He gets in his own head a bit. He gets frustrated, not out of, you know, arrogance or being that kind of guy, but just more because he wants to win. He wants to play the best. Yes, it's definitely something that's ingrained to some of those star players, especially when you're an AWPer, man. It really does feel like if you make the mistake, the whole round goes up in a puff of smoke. So it can definitely put a lot of pressure on you. The AWP on the CT side this time finds success, though, as Fine Shine will get the opener. Shock. It's been pretty crisp. Problem is, he goes running into A main, thinking that it was absolutely squeaky clean. Instead, he gets sideswiped. AJT, given a freebie, back on a B bomb site. They didn't expect him to be standing in the smoke, and as it fades, he strikes and hits one. 1 versus 3, though, Vince. Bit of time, but the bomb's down, and he's being pushed.
Yeah, they've also seen the bomb as well now, so there's no reason for them to stay in positions. There's no round the corner. Fine Shine gonna get the drop, and then fall down into the canals. 4-2 the score. No post plant again. So Money is in a rough spot. Could be a Tech 9 job here for Sinners. I mean, we've seen them. They literally won the first map off the basis of Oscar's Tech 9 pretty much. B-Stick's had a very rough game, though, so far. He's 0-5 with 2 ADR. I mean, simply put, that has to change. You know, you're in a situation when you're on your choice of map. Yes, he might not be the guy that you look at to be the heaviest hitter or like the top fragger every time, but that's not really acceptable. So let's hope that B-Stick finds himself on the server and wakes up a little bit, and Sinners can have all 5 players performing.
Get that momentum back. Because you don't want to give up too much. You don't want to lose the energy that you had, right? The high heights from winning the first map, but you come out swinging, you're feeling good. Suddenly it starts to slip away from you a little bit. It can make it hard. That sort of stopping and starting drains the energy. So hopefully they do still have some room to breathe on this one. 2 Tech 9s, a couple P250s as the supporting backup dancers for those weapons, and 2 sets of Kevlar as well. You've got nades, double smoke, you can block off Temple, block off Connector, or Deep CT, flashes over the top. They go running in, and they beat the Molotov as well. HE in the back should deal some damage, but it's all easy pickings on the M4s. Shock's the only one that finds a frag here.
Very nice P250 headshot as well at range. I mean, from what I've seen of these brackets as well, Jacky, I'm beginning to become a bit of a believer in the P250 again. I remember, like, 2016, maybe through 2018, it was a real powerhouse weapon, and a lot of players kind of went off that idea, went to the 5.7s, the Tech 9s. Obviously, that had its days in the sun. And now I'm seeing a lot more people using that P250 and just instantly just removing heads. I might have to give it a try again. Seems like a very accurate weapon in CS2.
Yeah, PT50 does feel good, and it's like the old school Forest quote, Vince. There's always money for P250. Doesn't matter what round it is, bud. You can always pull out that bad boy, right? It feels like it's a good investment. On eco, on force, even a full buy. You get those taps off, it feels so punishing. It really is pretty fun to use. And we're seeing a lot of love from it. It's weird as well, because it felt like the 5-7 was really coming into its own towards the end of CSGO. But now it's only some players that are running it. Definitely fallen off a little bit here. A lot of firepower outside of the pistols, though, into this round. Rifles basically across the board. Anti-flash setup inside a connector here. Trying to bait out a peek. They clear the smoke and hope someone would swing so the AWP can find a free trade. Molotov does a fair bit of damage as well, about 3 ticks on the getaway. So you bring one of the players down to 70 HP, and Shock tries his luck again towards A main. Good flick, Vince. That was swift.
Yeah, beautiful shot. And they managed to isolate with a flashbang as well, as the CTs go peeking into connect to get punished, but Fine Shine again, he's having a good game here. It was a bit slow to start on Mirage, but nothing slow about this. Molly in, forces them out of position. Abaraju now has a chance to pounce in, and he will. Pivots with Fine Shine. The two of them are doing a stellar job of holding the site, but eventually they will fall. And now Lampada has it all to do by himself. 20 seconds left on the clock. More ample time to get the plant down, which Oscar has. And now coming down into connector. Misses his shot, gets punished. AJT knows exactly where Lampada's coming from. He's stuck on the wrong side of main, but the bomb is planted for him. And he has no nades. There are 2 flashes in the hands of Lampada. It's about which angle does he go for here, because the bomb is very low. Decides to smoke onto the site. Just picked that smoke up from Oscar's body, I believe. And now he's going to try and flash while he goes for the defuse, but AJT is having none of it. So the first round in what will feel like a long time, 5 to be precise, of Sinners having almost no success. And they have got it done. There's going to be plenty of cash for ILIN to dip back into and to get back into winning ways.
Having a big CT side as well does an awful lot for you on Anubis. It feels that you really can find your footing a lot easier. Alleviate some of the added pressure going into your T side. Sinners, you're going to play with that tempo a bit. You're going to play with the pace. Now you picked up a round. Ooh, it seems like that shoe is on the other foot as the CTs come barreling down B canals. They're ready for the repeat towards middle as well. B-Stick made a ton of noise on the bounce back over. So they double back. 3 players are stationed on B. Only 1 man towards A Vince. He's playing inside of camera. And B-Stick's listening for the audio cues. He wants to hear them rotate round through middle and then go for a bit of a backstab on this. It's Fine Shine with the AWP. The AWP from this angle towards Heaven really can deal some big blows though, so he's okay, and he's also got the backup now arriving. So overall, the round has returned to normality. A 4 versus 4 with what looks to be a late A finish for Sinners.
Late A finish on Shock on low HP. Lack of utility across the board for the Czech players. They desperately require an entry fragger. They need someone to become that X factor, and it may be just put into the hands of B-Stick, but oh, his rough game continues. Abaraju instantly nullifies him. Down the corner, shot from Fine Shine going astray. That'll open up a little bit of room now for the T's to explode out onto the A side. And they'll oblige. They do get an even trade back and forth. 25 seconds left. Shock's still alive, however. So he is one of those low players. Fine Shine misses again. The rotation through, but Shock deals with it swiftly. Aviva's next up. Gets one. Traded back from Oscar, who turns his attention in. And Fine Shine may have shot multiple warning shots off, but finally it will become deadly. 6-3 the score. Sinners with no post plant struggling again.
Ooh, the fact he hits that last shot there makes such a difference. Man, Oscar, hey, we're starting to get into it, Vince. A clincher of a round. Nail biter, really, it was with how it was trading. And Sinners, so close, yet so far. Once again, the T side. Really looking rough for them. Going into the 10th here, it's fragmented. Few players with Kevlar, 1 rifle, and a few bits of utility. They go for the old totem pole at middle. Boost up, smoke response there. Neo frag, looking towards the window in case there's been a push out through the B canals, but no one's walked over yet. You do have a single lurker as well in Shock. He's just holding outside of A main. He's actually going in for a bit of info. He's going to test the waters, see if he can bleed his way around whilst everyone else gravitates towards middle. No hard commit on a play yet from Sinners. They're just playing split and pick. They're hoping you're going to play into their hands.
Oof, AGT decides he's a bit cold. Wants to warm his feet up. Takes a couple ticks down to 77. He falls. Lampada's still here. Flash out. No information gathered in terms of players. Now they've got 4 players spotted in mid. Fast wraparound. Abraju is here with his A1S. Oh, he gets nothing. Nothing from that is not good enough. And it forces Aviva to wide swing. Down he will fall. Bojem has a chance to maybe take this round yet. It would be a horrible round for them to lose. And Feinstein misses too many times. He gets punished. It's another clutch situation. ILIN with it all to do. Oscar low on 6 HP. And there's the peak from Oscar as Sinners win it. They steal the round away with pistols again. How many times have we seen that over these 2 qualifiers?
It's crazy, bro. The more Tech 9s you have, the higher chance you have of winning those sort of rounds, it feels like. Pistol prowess is so important in CS2 because mobility is just really such a buff for you. If you can run fast, dive around corners, honestly, Vince, man, it feels like at this point, the dream scenario for a site take is not the amount of nades you have. It's how many times your players can bounce as they come around the corner. Draws the crosshairs off, let you hit the taps with the guns because it just recovers that bit quicker. It's wild. So the pistols deliver a very decisive blow. And into round 11, Sinners once again find themselves armed. They've recovered weapons to work with, and it's the pistols in the hands of ILIN. Lampada taking the peek towards A main, but pepper sprayed as the AK puts him down in a dirt nap. The 5-7 replies though, and here comes a bit of an awkward extension. They wanted to peek outside of B main, Vince, but they've gone so slowly, they fed them the first pick.
And Aviva is he's on the source right now, just landing these kills left and right over on A. Problem is that the rest of his team have not really mustered up much strength. So on 4 HP, he has it all to do for himself. For AK in hand, they will have enough for a buy into the next round. Other than Feinstein, he's on $800, and oh, Aviva. I was thinking, Neofrag, you trying to take a picture or something, mate? It seemed like he took a while to actually fire off the shots. Maybe he was just surprised, itching his head. I'm not sure what happened there. Doesn't really matter. He got the kill all the same. And that'll be 6-5. And AJT, who I believe is the newest member of this team, he's top fragging. 11 kills to his name. He's had a very good half of CS.
No, he's looked good, man. He really has had some important rounds behind him. It felt like even on Overpass, there was some moments of greatness as well, where he was super consistent with the multi-kills towards Monster. Something strong about his spray, but Beastick feasts on the mid-push. His beastly jaws bite down. AJT can't withstand the defense from the B site. So at least there's one trade for the CTs, and it gets a little bit better as well. B Canals turns into a bloody affair as Neofrag will be butchered. Feinstein burning on the back of the site. The nade's going to wreck him, Vince. Even if he doesn't die to it, you've got the audio cue and left him with a fraction of his health.
And there's the second touchdown. They knew he was there. Double peeking. It's Lampada that gets the first. Abraju just behind him with the FAMAS. Flicking from Oscar. Never likely to miss that shot. And there's the second. You have to be very careful not to peek into Oscar slowly when he's got an AWP trained on your position, because he will punish. And it's Sinners that win 4 out of the last 5 rounds to tie us up at 6 apiece. Super even on a razor's edge this game. And of course, so much on the line. A spot in the close qualifiers for whichever team wins this. Obviously, Sinners already 1-0 to the good after winning Mirage. So for ILIN, it's going to have to be the long trek through Anubis into Ancient. So close this game though, Jacky. Real back and forth nail biter. A lot of big performers as well. Feinstein, Abraju, and AJT are the main men. I did also double check, by the way. AJT joined the exact same day as Neofrag, so they are both the newest recruits to this squad.
Damn, the deadly duo finding a good place for themselves in the roster already. Neofrag needs to live up to his name here, though. They're pushing in, Vince. Ooh, panicking on contact. The USP not delivering. This is an awkward clash towards the stairs. And Oscar will eventually command a bit more respect on that one as the Doolies get the job done. You're so outnumbered. Bomb site taken. Only 2 players left. You've got those Kevlar suits on your person, so it might not be worth running the risk of trying to slip back into it. You're not going to pull off the retake. So they will just wander off. The only potential is AJT. He can maybe play for the exits a bit more with the USP in his hands, but he's slowly trying to backpedal, tuck himself into T-spawn and let this one move on by. They are being hunted, but should be no joy for the T's unless wide swing back round. Oh, he's quick with it, Vince.
Yeah, Abraju's having a really solid game so far. See them use a lot of different weapons, the FAMAS, Deagles, MP9, M4. Very solid with all of those. Oscar will be able to save his Julies and also, I guess for him, more importantly, the Kevlar, allowing him the chance, if they can get some shenanigans in with a kill, he can trade up to one of those rifles. The rest of the team, I doubt, are going to invest too much into this. But yeah, ILIN off to a cracking start in the second half. They got in with 2 MAC-10s. So the spray and pray. And you touched on this just a few rounds ago with the idea of, you know, it's not necessarily about utility, but how fast you can bounce and push around corners. I completely agree. I think that's why you're seeing kind of like the re-emergence of weapons like the P90. Nertz was using the MP7 when we casted him earlier. A lot of MP9s and MAC-10s are being utilized, and they're so deadly, so powerful for that reason. Abraju has 0 chill, Connector's been cleared, and in doing so, that should be the post plant, and it should be the round to the Russians again.
Set up for an easy touchdown on this one. And they're farming them as well, making sure they're trying to prioritize the money on some of the players that had SMGs, get a bit of a buyback off of the cash spent. But yeah, it's such a big part of CS2 these days. Just being able to use your sheer speed to your advantage, swinging into fights. And the higher the rate of fire, the better the weapon feels in its current form. Something about the MAC-10 just feels so ridiculous, man. I personally love it, to be honest. I was always a MAC-10 enjoyer before, and now it just feels like the whole weapon's had a buff. You know, stats haven't changed, Vince, but everyone's confidence with it has certainly increased.
Yeah, I'm right alongside with you. I always felt, Jacky, that for me personally, one of my best weapons, and this is going back CSGO for the longest time, was the MP9. I've always loved the MP9 personally. I love Overpass as a map. Always would play it close on B site and have tons of success with the MP9. So it does feel really good in CS2 that you're actually being somewhat vindicated for sticking with these weapons for so long.
Exactly. Our time is now, Vince. The SMGers, the shotgunners, we all rise up and make the difference. The low economy weapons are the best in the business. The nade, though, deals a far bigger dent to the HP pools. Oscar has that MAC-10, and Shock, he's starting to burn. Molotov spreading, does extinguish it. Flash over the top as well. Response off the pillars, nice. If they hard committed to it, it would have been a clean cleave through them. Problem is, they were blind at the exact same time. So a stalemate on the push, and they give up the goods. They don't hard commit off the back of that one, and they're trying to redirect this play towards B.
Interesting, too, that both teams expended a lot of utility on that for what ended up being more flirtation than anything else. Yes, there's damage been inflicted, but ILIN tossed a lot of nades, a lot of Molotovs, flashes, smokes. They only have 2 left on their disposal, but because Sinners are just into their first buy on the CT side, they're not in much better shape themselves. AJT peering down onto Con. He is going to see action, spots that first player, but he's not in position to do any more than that. Neofrag with just 1's not good enough. And I think Sinners will be looking already to save these guns. It's been a very rough start to their CT side. ILIN will be feeling like they've got a good chance at equalizing this and going to a third map if this continues. They need to just get a little bit of stature here, Sinners. A bit of momentum picked up again. Some of those players that were super good in that first map falling off a little bit. Shock in particular, not quite having that same level performance. So we'll see if they can turn it around. Oscar's setting up for some exit frags. Not sure if he's heard the footsteps of Lampada that's around the corner. He definitely has heard that now, so he's going to be feeling, right, let me get this MAC-10 using and abusing. But nope, gets checked, gets cleared. There will be no save for Oscar. There will be no exit frags.
Not today. but not on this one. So let's review the facts. Let's see what we're dealing with now then, as we get into round 16. ILIN, they're ahead. 9 rounds. Sinners trailing with 6. So that's 3 rounds on the spin going into the second half. ILIN, they were good with the Glocks. They take the pistol round. They keep the good times rolling. And they're happy with the position they found themselves in. But of course, every little helps. Every bit keeps them moving in the right direction. And for Sinners, when will they eventually find their way back into the game? This time, the opening frag is Shocks. Claims that one relatively scot-free. Only a lick of damage, losing 20 HP. Ooh, Vince, the calamity on the B play. It looked terrifying, but Oscar, no stranger to danger, likes to re-peek and take another fight on B main. He falls, and the double up really puts ILIN in a huge position.
Man, AGT's got to do better in that position. Oscar's just done so much. And AJT was sat on pillar. Had a 1v1 straight up trade, had the advantage, and lost out on it. And even though Sinners got the first pick, they still find themselves in a disadvantageous position post-plant with both players of the T's hiding in connector. Now, considering there is a smoke for B-Stick, if he smokes Con, that basically is the round going the way of the CTs, but of course, that's information that he doesn't know. He's not sure if players are hiding outside of main as it stands. He smoked the bomb, gonna go in for the full defusal, and Shock will try and do the rest. Spray comes through, should be the defuse, is the defuse, but there will be no survivors. So even though Sinners get the round, their buy into this round is gonna be very, very low investment.
Rounds are so important, but sustainable, repeatable rounds are worth even more. They need to link these together. Still rattled, still forced to fight from the back foot. No easy ones, no freebies for Sinners on their CT side. You don't have the blessing of the scope for Oscar. He's delegated down to just the shotty, the XM10. So all about the off-angle plays going into this one. Meanwhile, B-Stick with the MP9 teasing a fight towards middle, looking for early information. And ILIN, they're just running a default. They're playing a slow setup. Couple players towards the extremities of either side of the map, holding to see if there's an info play from the CTs. They molly over towards middle and look to claim a bit of mid control. If they find a pick here, they can always double back and wrap down towards the B site, causing a rotate. But if they feel comfortable to, you could bypass camera, go straight in towards the A site, and have a big collapse.
Team Sinners were very much aware of that possibility, throwing the smoke down. Shock needs to go huge here. There's one. Famas still spraying. He's going to run out of bullets eventually. And he's being flanked from main side, but he does get the second. Aviva spills the bomb, and that puts so much more pressure on Abraju. Shock with another one. Just as I was saying, he's having a slow game. He has come out swinging here in the previous 2 rounds. And Fine Shine can do little but go back to T-Sport and save. This round is done.
Finishes the round where he starts it in the exact same place. With only 9 rounds to their name, Sinners going to climb all the way to 8. Shock, dropping 360s on them, finding hat tricks, and putting them into a position where they could finally start to overtake once again. The 3 rounds on the trot from ILIN looked terrifying in the grand scheme of the game, but now it's looking tighter again. It's looking closer. Remember as well, this is Sinners' map pick. This should be their home turf. This is where they're meant to be at their most comfortable in this series. How quickly is that going to change? How is that going to unfold? Rifles coming back out. Investment up from Sinners. B-Stick on the MP9 still, the rest of them supporting it with a duo of AKs, a duo of M4s, and a collection of utility behind that. ILIN will only have the one savaged AWP that was brought over from the last round, the salvage weapon rather, and the AK there on another man as well. They've got techs on deck though, Vince, and they're going for a B play. If this is speedy, it might catch Sinners off guard.
Yeah, we know all about how the Tech 9s have fared so far in these qualifiers. Oh, boosted up AJT. He can see over the smoke. Any more players peek this? They should be pretty slim pickings, but it's going to be the AWP that reigns out first. Big nade damage. Here comes the spray. AGT still needs to fall back to the site. Now NeoFrag needs to muster up some serious courage, but he goes down next, and it's down to B-Stick. He's had a rough game so far. Trades up to the M4, sprays down, gets the headshot. He's buying up enough time for Shock to make moves on Temple. But once again, it's the pistols that do so much damage. The smoke clears from that HE. The spray is good for 2. Beautiful teamwork from Sinners again, as it's going to get them their 9th round. But that is a warning shot fired directly above the head of Sinners. You can't take any round for granted.
Oh, okay. It's spicy stuff, man. I'm telling you, the more Tech 9s, the higher the percentage of a potential upset round into these. It's wild. When you see that little force up, that little investment, you're always thinking, all right, maybe there's actually room that they can somehow make this round convert into another bit, into another score for them. 9-9. The game begins again. AKs and Galils to work with for ILIN. Going back over towards the A side. Maybe just fighting fire with fire, but Shock! He slams his way in for the opening picks, clashes his way through 2 of them. Fine Shine is forced to stand his ground and is only good for 1 pick. B-Stick, still confident as well, plays close towards the smoke. Oh, Lambada, he's pushed his whole way in towards middle Vince, but as the smoke fades, it's an easy pick for the CTs.
Man, someone must have just injected adrenaline straight into Shock. The way he's been playing these last 4 or 5 rounds has been nothing short of sensational. The guy is so quick on the trigger, so snappy with it. We saw it a couple times on the T side, and most notably on A main, in this very position that Aviva's in right now. It may have even been Aviva that got wrecked. That flick that he connected to his left-hand side that you called it, Jacky, was so nice. It gave us a little idea of what could be coming up. But this round isn't done just yet. They can't afford to assume anything here, Sinners, because we've seen so many of these 2v4s get very, very close. Molly down into the upper on Heaven's side, keeping these 2 CTs isolated from the site. Should buy them up enough time for the bomb plant, but AGT is now moving in. Oh, it's going to be a corner for Fine Shine. Nothing you can do about that one. Aviva now with his back, with 3 players all trying to put the knife in there. And it's NeoFrag that gets the job done. And Sinners hit 10 first. Jacky, they're pulling away just when it counts.
Feels like the wheels are coming off. What was such a brilliant start for ILIN on their T side. It was quite quickly lost a lot of its color. It's looking dulled. They go back into the force, opting to prioritize a whole collection of pistols. Awful lot of techs. 2 deagles. And a bit of utility as well. 5 smokes. And a couple of HEs. Ooh, talking of which, a nade thrown down middle. Bowling in a very aggressive way. As that will do a bit of chip damage. 6 HP, taken off a Fine Shine. Double Molotov. Push coming in towards mid here. Trying to make as much noise as possible. Bait the idea. This is a full commit towards the mid play. They wait for the smokes to fade. And they hard commit. Cameras set ablaze. They're going to have to smoke it. Oh, it's not looking clean on entry. And these Ps are getting ruined, Vince. Only 1 frag found with an Eagle.
Yeah, this round kind of reeks of desperation, doesn't it? I was right alongside with you. I thought that they were just puffing their chests out and saying, listen, guys, we're totally hitting mid. But then they actually did. And so all the mollies, all the smokes, all the flashes, and more importantly, all the players were sat there just waiting. It couldn't have been a more straightforward round if you're Sinners. Maybe ILIN just out of ideas here, Jacky. They ran out of gas. They're out of steam. Surely this is where you call a timeout if that's the case. Because simply put, these rounds are going by so fast now, and they're all the way of Sinners, you can't afford to lose anymore. You lose this one, they're on 2 or 3 match points. Elimination points come in. Your money might be in the bin as well, but they're not going to. They're determined. They're sure that they're focused, and they can still get the job done. Well, let's see if they can. They're going down into canals early on here, but the NeoFrag is there. He's waiting.
Oh, mate. They give each other a hug, but NeoFrag delivers an uppercut. And now again, ILIN start off on the back foot with only 4 players. Close quarters connection towards connector. Back turned. Molotov keeping them at bay though. They can't hard commit towards the swing. The CTs need to get out, but instead they just run straight through it. They take the fight into B canals and paint the town red. ILIN, they just keep going, Vince. Like you said, if they would have taken a timeout, they could have adjusted the play, taken a few seconds to talk about it. Instead, they just keep the game going, and it is going all sorts of wrong for them. There's only a duo left. They're being butchered at every corner, and with 50 seconds on the timer, what do you even do here? If they backpedal and go for the A play, good luck getting past shock.
I can admire the determination to say, like, we don't need to take a tap out here. We feel supremely confident in our abilities to pull this one back. We've had a couple of close calls, etc. But at some point, if things aren't working out, it's not weakness to admit that. It's strength. To get on the same page, to listen to ideas from your teammates, to figure out what the hell to do next. And this is the outcome. You don't call a timeout. You just keep running into the wall. Eventually, you're going to break your skulls. And Sinners, they've looked immaculate in these last few rounds. Also, I want to give a shout out to B-Stick because we touched on him being 0-0-5 when the score was like 4-2. I think just a few rounds ago, he was 6-14. 11-15, he's had a big step up as well. So Sinners across the board, everyone has raised their game. And ILIN just can't hang with them. And to make matters worse, they were trying to save. He dies after time. Lampada has $900.
Oh, Vince. And that's when the timeout is called. At this point, because you're so desperate. You're even just trying to figure out what you do with the money you've got. It's really, really rough, bud. I mean, Wild. He's actually been able to connect that shot in literally the last millisecond before we tick over into the next round. So, Wrexham leaves them with no money. And also they have all of this freeze time to mull it over and be a bit frustrated about it. Sinners, meanwhile, sitting pretty. 12 rounds. And this is after an unbelievable streak. You know, you look towards the bottom of your screens there. You can see the disparity. First 3 rounds for ILIN in the second half were clinical. They pick them up, have a good pistol. Looks like they're really in a good position for the game. Maybe debating, hey, can we take this to a third? Now 6 rounds, back to back to back for Sinners. And going into the 22nd, it is do or die. A single straw on top of the camel's back will break it, and ILIN will fall out of the qualifier. Oscar switches up the position with an elevated boost, playing behind the site on this raised platform. The T's grouping up towards middle with 2 players stationed outside of A. They've already taken a bit of chip damage as well, losing 20 HP.
No, Jacky, it's wild to me having 3 timeouts left. They don't call it in the penultimate round, potentially. They call it when they have a real mix-up buy, when too much damage has already been done. That's such a strange decision for me. It may end up working out, but they've lost the first player. And even though Neofrag is low, they can pull back to the sites and maintain their advantage. And there's very little that ILIN can do about this.
Days are numbered, and the longer it goes on, the more uncomfortable you feel. 47 seconds on the clock. You're going for a split push on B. You're hoping for the best. You need the entries to go your way, and do they expect the angle from Oscar? He's been switching it up an awful lot in terms of his positioning. They try to bait the shot, but Oscar's too swift. Punishes Vince, and now it's just a hat trick left. 30 seconds for the final round.
Loads of utility being placed in the right positions. Oscar can now relocate. The grenade is good. They're softening up those targets. Oscar with the crossfire shot. He may go down, but the rest of his teammates should put an end to this match. Should let them qualify for the closed qualifier and take one giant step towards the RMR. And they've done just that. They too